Jay Real. I hope everybody's having a pretty good day. I'm feeling better today. I've been kind of sick this weekend, but today I'm feeling pretty good. Got a lot of things I want to get off my chest today, but we will get to that in a moment. Let me welcome the panel here tonight that'll be joining us. As always, we have Brother Jeremy is in the house. How you doing tonight, Jeremy?
I'm good. Always good. How's everybody doing?
Oh, that's good. That's good. Miss Monica is back to join us. How you doing tonight, Monica?
Good to be back. I'm doing great.
Oh, glad to have you back. Glad to have you back. Mr. Micah King is back as well this week. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great. How you doing today, Brother Real?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. And manning those boards for us is Mr. Brandon. Brandon, how you doing tonight, Brandon?
Doing good, man. How y'all doing?
Oh, we're doing pretty good, man. We're doing pretty good. So tonight we don't have a theme for the evening on tonight. Tonight what we're going to do is just going to talk about some things that are in the news, give some thoughts and opinions about some things happening today. But before we get to some of the things that some of the panel has brought to the table, I'm going to go ahead and drop some things on you myself here. Again, you remember you can always join these conversations. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680 is the number. All right, so first up, some things, of course. Trayvon Martin, of course, has been the big popular news story going across the nation here. And I don't want to get into the specifics of the case or anything. I think we all are pretty aware of what's happening with that case and where we are with it. But one thing I do want to say is I find it very interesting how immersed, and when I say us, I'm talking about black folks really, how immersed we are in this story and how strongly opinionated we are in this story, and how we move by it. We're rallying for it. And at this point, I really think a lot of the rallies kind of need to, calm down a bit. I think we've voiced our opinion as to we're not going to let this ride. You're going to need to address this issue in some way. And I think it will be addressed and handled and taken care of. So we don't need to do that anymore. What we need to do now is just let the justice system play out and kind of move on, in the sense that we don't need to keep rehashing what has happened, because at this point we're just bringing in a bunch of conjecture and opinions that have nothing to do with the facts. So I think it's time to move on, and I just thought, it's time to go on to a different place. And let justice be what the justice will be. Now, that being said, I find it so interesting that we have this passion for this case, essentially, that we have no power to do anything about. But when it comes to issues that are affecting us as a people, as a country, we seem to have a more lackadaisical approach to these particular issues. A good example of that, in my opinion, would be what's going on with the Supreme Court right now. Not that, again, we can't influence the opinion that they're going to make sometime in June. Actually, they made a decision last Friday, but of course that was in secret, and we'll be versed on their opinion sometime in June. But a decision has been made, but it's a decision that has an effect on us, not necessarily it has an effect on us today as it relates to the Affordable Health Care Act, but it has an effect on us in the future as well. Of course, what's being debated here is whether or not the mandate for everybody to buy health insurance is constitutional. And for all intents and purposes, the president wants us to believe that it is. The court will decide that for us and let us know their opinions. But we should be concerned about this issue, because it's not about what the Affordable Health Care Act is going to do. It's about what that decision means in the future for future governments. President Obama is only going to be president for, at the most, for another 4 years, assuming he wins in November. And so it's not about what he's going to do once the court's decision is made. It's about what the next guy's going to do, or the guy 15 years from now or the guy 50 years from now. That's what it's concerned about. Because if they say it's okay for the government to mandate everybody to buy health insurance, it's going to open the floodgates, again, not necessarily in 4 years with President Obama, assuming he wins, but for that next guy or that next lady or whomever it is in the future, which is going to have a profound effect on our lives for the government to now be deciding what it is we can and cannot buy. To me, and the president has been making comments about this in the last couple of days, and it goes to show it, in some sense, the character that he's been accused of, and that is arrogance. In his comments about this particular proceedings, he's almost chastising the Supreme Court to say, how dare you judge legislation that Congress has already deemed important and necessary and right. How dare you come behind them and now change potentially change the course of history, if you will. I won't get on President Obama. It's no secret. I'm not voting for President Obama come November. So it goes without saying that I think it's ridiculous for a president to be chastising the Supreme Court on issues when it relates to following the Constitution. I mean, that's their job. That's why you nominated Judge Sotomayor. That's why you nominated Justice Kagan into order to be a part of the Supreme Court, because you felt like, again, it's a court that's there to help us decide what is constitutional and what is not. So if they come back and they say that it isn't constitutional, how dare you stand on the pulpit and now say, well, you guys are just wrong and you're only doing this to spite me and Democrats, if you will, because you just disagree with our agenda, and Republicans hate all Democrats at the moment. I mean, really? Is that what this is about? Did we put these people in these positions of power so that they can simply stand on their pedestals and only vote down company lines, if you will? I think it's ridiculous. I think it's a shame that the president uses a platform to bully what is supposed to be a unquestioned court in order to further his agenda when it doesn't make sense for him. One of the things that's happened recently coming out of Supreme Court, which is something I disagree with, and I didn't hear the president commenting on this, is there was a case. It was a case that I got my notes here. Give me 1 second. But the Supreme Court basically decided that when a gentleman is going into jail, even if it's for some minor offense, the jail has a right to strip search this person for any reason that they deem necessary. Okay, so you arrest me tonight because I was drunk and disorderly, and now I'm going to the jail, and now I have to strip down butt naked so that you can see if I have any contraband. That's cool with the Supreme Court if they make those decisions. Let's not chastise that decision, but let's chastise them, questioning the bill that I created, the bill that I spent months negotiating and making sure that it got passed, even though, it was kind of shady how I got it passed, but that's not the point. That's cool. But this right here, I ain't gonna say nothing about, who cares? They get strip searched. That, this is important. That's important. And, it says something about the president, in my opinion, that he spends his time criticizing the things that are important to him and exclusively to him, but leaves on the table anything else that doesn't have anything to do with him. Let's be fair. If you're going to be critical of them when they do something you deem wrong, be critical all the time. Don't be critical of the things that just backfire against your plans. You know what I'm saying? Mr. President, let's do better, and I think as a people, we need to demand better. That's one of the reasons why it's no secret, I'm not voting for the president in November.
Because tell him why you mad.
Because
I know.
just
saying, right? Tell him why you're mad.
I'm sorry, I'm a little heated. I'm getting over this cold.
But I'm saying,
there's a lot of things on my mind today.
But is he really doing? I mean, from a politician standpoint, isn't that what they do?
Every president.
Isn't that what they do? Whatever legislation.
Actually, they don't do that. Most presidents do not go back and criticize the Supreme Court the way, because this is for President Obama. This is the second time he's done this. He did it a couple years back in his State of the Union address, in criticizing the rule that they made that allowed foreign entities to participate in the election process as far as making campaign donations, and he did that in a State of the Union speech while they were standing in front of him.
Okay,
so for this
so,
president,
so what's wrong? The question is,
for this particular president, it is not something different. But do most presidents do this? No, most presidents do not criticize the Supreme Court for making decisions that they deem unconstitutional. I mean, that's what we're talking about. We live, quote unquote, we're supposed to live by a constitution in this country. But the Supreme Court decides what is constitutional, what isn't.
So how many presidents has come out against abortion?
What'd you say?
How many presidents have been against abortion since the Supreme Court said it was legal?
It's not about a president being or a presidential candidates being against abortion. Everybody has a right to be pro-life or pro-choice. Everybody has a right to be that, and to state that has nothing to do with your opinions about what the Supreme Court says. That to me, there's a difference between saying I'm pro-life and I don't believe in abortions, and saying the Supreme Court should overturn Roe v. Wade. That's fine. That's fine to say you disagree with their opinion, but I think it's another thing to chastise them for doing the things that they're governed to do, that they were elected to those positions to do, which is make decisions on what is constitutional and what is not.
I mean, I just don't see the big deal. I mean, he didn't agree with the decision, so he said something.
There is no decision. He disagrees he disagrees with the fact that they are going to offer a decision. That's what he disagrees with. So, assuming their decision is against his philosophy.
But at the end of the day, he didn't agree with it, so he's saying something. I mean, what's the problem? That's all I'm trying to say.
The problem is you shouldn't be chastising from the presidential office the body that is hired, that is placed in order to deem what is constitutional. Okay? If you're going to essentially say the Supreme Court's is insignificant when it comes to upholding the Constitution, well then why not just say, I disagree with every opinion you make. I think I should be the one to decide what is happening and forget what you have to say. Because essentially that's what you're saying when you say that they have no right to deem what has been approved by Congress unconstitutional. That's what you're saying. You're saying we have already made a decision. We are dictators in this country.
Right or wrong.
So you guys should just listen, shut up, move on, and find something else to do. That's what he's saying.
Right or wrong, that's what he's saying. The president has a right to the First Amendment just like everybody. Is that am I wrong in saying that?
If anybody should be able to say something, it should be the president.
I mean, that's all I'm trying to say.
That's all. I mean, if anybody should have a voice, it should be the president.
I'm not saying he's right.
I'm not an Obama supporter, and but I feel like you just went on the rant, so why he can't go on the rant?
Exactly.
Just because he's the president, he shouldn't say that. He should just shut
his mouth. We've been on the air for about 13 minutes. You've been on the rant for about 11 of them.
I mean,
granted,
Obama. It probably was,
all he said was, I don't agree. He didn't take 11 minutes out of time.
I think it's all in the game of politics.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I think it's all, whether it was respectful, whether he really was thinking about his...
That's my point. It's disrespectful.
His checks and balances and his knowledge of the system. It's all... Politics is all a game, I feel.
I agree. I think that's what it's all a game. I mean, he doesn't agree, so he's going to say something.
Basic.
He's been disrespected to the utmost. He still gets disrespected because they don't even call him president. He gets disrespected every day. So now he come up and say something disrespectful. It's a big deal. Who cares?
It's a big deal.
No, it ain't no big deal.
To the Republicans. It's a major deal.
It's a big deal.
They don't even call that man president.
They call him
every
Obama.
day on TV. Everybody says Obama. He's the president. Call him man President Obama. So he can't get that respect. So now all of a sudden he got this a problem when he voices his opinion on something that he just doesn't agree with.
No, he voices his opinion that he doesn't agree the Supreme Court should make a decision on whether or not something is constitutional. That's a problem.
So
that's a problem.
Right or
that's
wrong,
a problem when the president
right
is suggesting the Supreme Court has no power to deem a bill unconstitutional. Because that's what dictators do. Dictators say you have no right to approve, to tell me what not to do. That's what a dictator says. And in this country, we are not dictators. There are no dictators in this country. In this country, you have to abide by by the laws, and there is a law in place that says the Supreme Court is to decide what is constitutional. For you to stand in the highest office in this country and then to go on public TV and say it's disrespectful that someone is going to go against my decision, that is a dictator-like mentality. He is not a dictator.
No,
that is not his position.
But
that's why it's a problem.
We got
because
dictators all over this country.
It's the arrogance that he displays continually.
We got dictators all over this country.
You can
and
say how
about
you
arrogance,
feel.
It's not arrogant. It's not arrogant to go to war for no reason. That ain't arrogance.
It ain't arrogant to raise oil prices for no reason.
You know, we got dictators all over. But this dictators all over this country. Any little small town sheriff that nobody's paying attention to, who writes some law where they doing whatever they want to do in that county, and nobody finds out that somebody dies and they relatives say something. You know what I mean?
Isn't that part of your right and privilege as a president to be able to be arrogant?
To be able to say what
anybody can be arrogant.
Anybody can be arrogant. You got to be the president to be arrogant.
It's just saying what you feel. If I feel like, okay, you shouldn't do this, you say do that. You got to say what you feel, because if anybody should say it, it's like, oh, I'm gonna listen to what the president got to say at least. Because a regular citizen, you're not gonna listen to him. It's just gonna be like, whatever.
That's okay.
So you listen to Bush?
Well, I
we went to war.
I guess I'm still in the.
But did you listen to him?
But we went to war.
Okay.
We supported him for 8 years in war. Why? Because it was like, well, no.
You said we. I wasn't in that.
America. As an American, we supported.
We allowed it.
We allowed it. We turned around and we turned the other cheek. The same thing we should do about this Obama situation.
I do agree to some degree with J-Real that as a leader, you are to not pick sides. You are to show to the best of your ability, wanting to work with both sides, wanting to display, that we're going to collaborate. Our country is going to work with each other. Because that's one of the major problems that we have now. They can't get things accomplished because they're always at each other's throat. Right. So that aspect, I do agree. Whether it's a surprise, probably not, because of other things that I've already, heard and experienced. But, politicians are politicians, whether they're presidents or governors or mayors, and they're going to stand for their sales pitch.
Right.
And, especially now because he wants to be reelected. So he wants them to know he still stands for his sales pitch. And so, I don't find it much of a surprise.
Obama, he didn't invent the game.
He a new one.
He didn't invent the game. He just playing it.
Exactly.
He just playing
the best of his ability.
That's all he doing. I'm not saying he's right. Nah, I do understand what you're saying, J-Real. I do understand what you're saying, but I just don't think it's a big deal because he still has.
You're not gonna let anybody talk about your homie.
Hey, all I'm saying is he has the right. He has the First Amendment right, just like anybody else. He has a First Amendment right, or wrong. He has that right to say whatever he wants to say.
It's president, homie. Okay,
that's right. President, homie. That's right. Correct yourself.
Remember, you can join in on these conversations. 407-894-1680. One more comment here about.
Just one.
Yeah, just one. Just one. It's one of them nights, but it's going back. There was an article someone sent me as it relates to healthcare, and it was going over some stats as it relates to compare healthcare in the United States to healthcare in England and Canada. And for those of you that don't know, England and Canada have essentially like a government type of healthcare program where everything is monitored through the government. And I'll just throw a couple of these stats out. It talks about the percentage of men and women who are surviving cancer 5 years after diagnosis. In the U.S., that number was around 65%. In England and Canada, the numbers hover between 42 and 46%. Something else, percentage of patients diagnosed with diabetes who receive treatment within 6 months. In the U.S., that's 93% of the people that do that. In Canada, it's around 43%. In England, around 15%, it says. Another one here, percentage referred to a medical specialist who sees one within a month. In U.S., we see them about 77% of the time. In England, about 40%. In Canada, about 43%. So, why did they go out and even find these stats? Of course, they found them because one of the criticisms of the Affordable Health Care Act is that it's going to eventually lead to this single payer system within the U.S., which most critics of it anyway, of course, deem inferior to what we already have. And these statistics, in my opinion, sort of cement that particular idea. Even one last one, it talks about percentage of seniors with a low income who say they are in excellent health. In U.S., the number is 12%. In England, the number is 2%. In Canada, the number is 6%. So, consistently, we're beating these countries who supposedly have better healthcare systems because they're monitored by the government, and ours is kind of monitored by the private industry at the moment, which, of course, change if the Affordable Health Care Act does go full-fledged in 2014. But I think those things are just interesting as we sit here and debate whether or not we need this thing at all in its current form. Healthcare reform, I think everybody knows we need to do something about. It's whether or not the current form is what we need it. One last statistic here. Another statistic they looked at were presidential candidates and their cabinets. The presidents and their cabinets, and the percentage of those cabinets that actually had private business sector experience before coming into office, which I find this last statistic to be very, very interesting. But you had a comment, Brandon? Is that what you're saying over there? No? No, oh, okay. I'm sorry. This last statistic is very, very interesting. So it's the percentage of the president's cabinet who had private business sector experience before they started working in the cabinet. For most presidents, and this goes all the way back to Theodore Roosevelt, it ranges anywhere from about 30 to 56% of those cabinets having some kind of private business sector experience prior to coming into office. I'll just give you the last three presidents. George Bush, 55% of his cabinet had private business experience. Bill Clinton, 39% of his. George H.W. Bush, his dad, 51%, and Reagan had 56%. Now, for President Obama's cabinet, 8% of his cabinet actually worked in the private sector before being appointed cabinets. Now, here's the question. So these are people who essentially are ideologues. They worked in community organizers.
Mm-hmm.
They were nonprofit workers. They worked at nonprofit businesses, or they worked in some other government job. Now, these are the people who are supposed to guide the economy, guide us to, prosperity, if you will. How can anybody who has no business experience help guide a businessman to a better business? How is that even possible?
The same way the 51% that George W. Bush ran us in the ground.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, I'm not actually.
Are you kidding me? First of all, no one president
the
runs
evidence
anything
is the evidence on the
ground.
table.
And
is the evidence on the table?
What evidence?
Jeremy 1.
J-Real
0.
Is the evidence on the table?
What evidence? What
The
evidence?
edit's over, ladies and gentlemen.
What evidence?
Between the war and the deregulations they allowed the banking industry to do and run afoul, ran us into the recession.
No, what ran us into the recession? Let's go back. You have to go back into the Clinton era to begin to discuss when the recession began and the policies began to lead us to the collapse that happened during the George Bush era. That goes back to Clinton, and then it supersedes all the way into his particular presidency. I'm no George Bush fan. I'm not standing on the corner to preach the goodness of George Bush. But if we're going to be honest in those conversations, we do have to include the things that President Clinton acts to be, because President Clinton was the first person to say we need to do something to allow everyone to get a home. We need to loosen up the way homes and mortgages are done so that everyone has a better opportunity to get homes. That started during the Bill Clinton era, and then it bled into the George W. Bush era, which is when it blew up in everybody's face because of the policies that we allow happen to get there.
All right.
And a lot of that is Is it on the presidents that were in office? Sure. But a lot of that too falls back on some of these people, because when you do any kind of business contract, the first thing you need to do is educate yourself. If you're not being educated, that's partly your fault, and that's the part of the fault of those people that went into business with you and then quote unquote tricked you into those bad contracts. But that's not an exclusive problem of any one particular president.
I'm not saying it is.
It's a problem of society as a whole.
So
and
when
what we allow.
So when all these private sector people from W. Bush came in and they saw these things happen around them, why didn't they fix it? There you go. Why didn't they fix it? Because they knew.
What was the percentage that Clinton had? It was 48%, right? 39%. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay, so why didn't they do something then? We can't blame Obama.
I'm not
here to blame Obama.
I want to ask you this, J-Real.
I'm not blaming Obama on anything. I'm asking a question. How can people who have no business experience truly lead businesses into prosperity?
I want to ask you this question, J-Real.
Go ahead, Brent.
Because you posted your question out there, and when Jeremy came with the answer and started putting the blame on Bush, you took the blame from Bush and even from the percentage of the people that you were speaking about and started putting it on each individual. So if you feel like us as individuals are responsible for ourselves, then why should it matter if only 8% of Obama's party is private business sector? If ultimately we are the ones that's taking care of ourselves.
It matters because they will. It matters. It matters because the president's cabinet introduces policies that affect businesses. That's why it matters.
Well, I think it's intentional, though, because businesses, when you have a business eye, and many people in the cabinet, like they had mentioned, they didn't stop it because they saw other business people gaining and having a positive outcome from what they allowed to happen.
Right.
So they were probably getting kickbacks to some degree. You know how politics works, but so they didn't want to stop it. However, Obama may have, and I have no idea what his ideology is behind this, but it may have been intentional so that you have people from the nonprofit sector that understand how you have to hustle and bustle to get, funds and understand from that aspect where the finances of America stands versus the business corporate world where people do, quote unquote, trick other people so that they can have assets, so that they can have more money, so that they can, earn a profit in the long run, for lack of a better word. That's what I think, that he's trying to do something different intentionally.
And then let's not forget, some of the richest people in the world didn't have no business experience when they started.
Everybody needs a starting point.
And I like it because it's taking them in a different mentality. Mm-hmm. You're taking the mentality, like you're getting people, you saying community organized, things like that. People who are a little more concerned
about people.
About the people than necessarily the business quote unquote bottom line this quote unquote bottom line that really doesn't exist. Because if it did, we would actually have a balanced budget at some point.
But not having a balanced budget has nothing to do with the people in cabinet. But no. I mean, go ahead. Yeah, that'd be off subject. Go ahead. Going back to my point though, you say you put these people in, and so now you have people in here that are more concerned about the people more so than they're concerned about the business.
I would say the people. If you're getting people from community and different things like that, I say they are more concerned than people who are just coming in out of the private sector, and all they're looking at is straight numbers. That's all they're looking at.
I wouldn't say that they're more concerned about the business than the people because they got to be there for business. But I think their approach to business is people first. Mm-hmm. They're still business minded,
right?
But their mindset is on the people,
right? And even when you're running a nonprofit, I mean, for lack of a better term, you're still running a business.
Yeah.
So what we're saying here then is these people who have no experience running the business, who potentially don't know anything about running a business, are better educated as to how to successfully move business forward.
No, we didn't say that.
Years
No, we didn't say that.
Than
That's not what
people
we said.
who have been in business. Is that what we're suggesting?
No, that's not what we said.
Or we're just saying that these people would have more of a concern about the people on the bottom of the business than the people at the top of the business, which is what you would assume business people would be more concerned with. Is that what we're saying then?
I don't remember anybody saying anything like that. I don't know what you doing over there.
What am I listening to? Is this real family talk?
All we said.
I think that the whole idea of the Obama campaign was, we can make a difference to some degree, with a paraphrase of the terms. So therefore it was inferring that he is looking out for the people and trying to change the system so that it may benefit all of the people and not some of the people. So I think that by changing the way that the cabinet is developed, he was trying to make efforts to change the ideas of the cabinet to benefit the people rather than to benefit just the business people. And so that's why I think it's more.
That was
That's
very,
the same thing I
that
just
was
said.
very
Exactly what we were
eloquently
trying
put,
to say.
Simon. I mean, that was very
good.
eloquently put.
Very good. That's what we were trying to say.
Is that what y'all trying to
Yes.
say? Is that what y'all trying to say?
Call in.
407-894-1680.
Call in and agree with Monica. Please call in and agree with Monica.
1680.
All for Obama. New topic. Monica, do you have any topics?
I do have a topic. I thought we were going to go more local first, but I have a global topic. It's about money and love. And as a counselor, I've experienced a lot of conflicts regarding money and love. And so we're going to talk about it. I want to see what you guys think. Why is, when it comes to money, love doesn't have anything to do with it? People just, in many cases, will fight over money. It seems like they love money more than they love their partner or their boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever the case is. Why is money so powerful, even beyond relationships in many cases?
Well, as a relationship specialist,
Uh-oh.
I really feel that love, people look at love before they look at money and jump into relationships blindly without money. And then I think that once money becomes a issue, then they realize that, I'm not in love as I thought I was, or something to that nature. Because, it's a lot of relationships that they go off of love and they don't have a dime, two dimes to rub together, but they feel like, we can make this work off of love and we can pay these bills through love. But at the end of the day, you need money also to pay these bills and do anything. Even to pay for your love, you need some money. So I really don't think it's a good idea to even get married, or I'm going to stay single until I got a car, job, and an apartment. But that's just me. But a lot of people don't see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
This actually does tie in to what J. was talking about. He's got talking about the love and the money. See, that's the problem. A lot of these people, they be loving money, and they ain't loving the people. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm trying to say? So it does tie in. Mm-hmm. But like you were saying, at the end of the day, people just not communicating. Right. Before you get married or move in together, nobody's really sitting down saying, "Hey, I only make $8 an hour. You only make $8 an hour. We can't go do this." Let's make sure we pay this, and then after that, we'll see what we can kind of have fun with, or whatever the case may be.
Because it's like a business. At the same time, a relationship is like a business. We got to put our monies together and make it grow. But like you say, people don't sit down and communicate and look at their financials and put it together to try to make one. But, a lot of people, let's put it like that, they try to have separate accounts and try to put, their money in their account, and then they'll put a little bit of money in the joint account. And then, they try to look out for themselves at the same time. And then, money breaks up a lot of relationships also. Mm-hmm. But you can't love money, because even in the Bible it says, the love of money is the root of all evil. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
I think it goes all the way back to our own personal education about money. I think that we have done, as a community and as a society, have done ourselves a great disservice because we did not develop adequate skills for being financially educated. And so you get one somewhat financially educated person with one that may be financially educated or not so much, and they don't necessarily communicate about how they're going to handle their finances because they're just so in love and just so happy to have a $100,000 wedding that they just don't know what to do with themselves. And then they end up with all of this debt. And now they have to figure out how they're going to pay their rent or their mortgage, and how are they going to take care of these kids that they now have, and how are they going to take care of this. And someone didn't share that they already were delinquent in their credit card expenses way before they got married, and somebody didn't share that they had loans that, you know, on the side with the motorcycle that they just got, or whatever the circumstance is. You have a spender, you have a saver. Usually you always have one or the other, and you have, you know, that opposite attraction in the relationship, and they don't talk about it. So like you were saying, Micah, they get together and they're like, you know, it's all gravy. You know, we're gonna get married and it's all gonna work out. But love. It's not gonna work out if you don't talk about money. And I think a lot of people there's the stigma behind money. I don't want to ask about their credit score. I don't want to ask about how, you know, their ideas about paying bills. Because there are some people that don't pay the bill until they get the second notice.
Right.
So are you marrying somebody that thinks that
waits
way?
the second notice?
You gotta know your status.
So some people don't pay the bill till they see the man at the door. They're like, oh, I got that right here. It's right here.
But you know, like you said, it goes back to communication. That's the key. It's the money conversation is one of those conversations that, and I think, like you said, it goes back to our financial awareness. On average, most of us aren't financially aware of the things that are going to be necessary for us now, and what we should be doing now, and then also what we should be doing in the future. And so as a result of us being uneducated as to where we need to go just as an individual, you're even more so uneducated when you try and bring these two individuals together. And then, like you said, people get together and they're scared. I don't want to ask about the credit score. Or I assume he's doing all right. I mean, he has an apartment like I do, and you know, he has a car, and he pays for the dinners, and we go out, and you know, but nobody's having the conversation to figure out, you know what I'm saying, is he paying for the dinner when you went out because he decided to put the light bill on hold until next month. You know what I'm saying? So what's going on? You gotta know your status. You gotta have that conversation even prior to, almost, if you will. You know, it's kind of like when you get to that point where you're like, you know, this dude might be, then that's time. This dude might be. So your credit score is because I need to know, you know, how we gonna move forward. I need to know your status, or at least if you know you're gonna be with this person, you know, go ahead and volunteer that said information. Because I mean, if you look at the divorce statistics, I'm sure money. I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but I'm sure money is got to be the number one reason that people get divorced in the first place. And it all comes from that lack of communication about where you are financially.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, before I make my comment, I just want to say the number is 407-894-1680. 407-894-1680. Now, what I want to say is, I believe a lot of the relationship finance issues is our women's fault.
Yes.
And
I didn't want to say that.
407-894-1680.
Y'all don't do this when I'm the only lady.
Right. And the reason I say this, like you were saying earlier, that how you don't know he forego the light bill to pay for dinner. Now, if you've been together a little while, you know how much money your man make. You have a pretty good idea how much he make. So when he's taking you out to dinner that fourth or fifth time that week, or you're asking him to take you to dinner that fourth or fifth time that week, and somebody saying like, where is it in your head saying like, you know, maybe we don't need to do this.
Okay, you got a question or comment?
Maybe we don't need to do this. Because I know how much his rent is. I know how much his car is. And I know pretty much what these bills is, and he always keep fresh clothes, so something got to fall off here.
Right.
If we keep going to dinner.
I'm sorry,
we have a
I'm
caller.
gonna need
Hold
him
on one
to.
second, Miss Molly. We got a caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes,
Okay, how you doing tonight, caller?
I'm doing pretty good.
All right. And your name is? I'm sorry.
My name is Stacia Whitley.
All right. And your comment tonight?
My comment is, how is it the woman's fault if the man is supposed to take the lead?
Because women make the
Bible
same
says
amount
the
as
man
money.
Hold on.
the lead.
All right, and that should come. How is it the man's fault? I mean, the woman's fault when the man is supposed to take the lead? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your comment. We appreciate you calling.
My thing is this. If you know, like Jeremy said, if you know the man is paying for this, paying for that, and you know you got a job also, and you paying for this, paying for that, when are the women that's supposed to be independent nowadays, they're supposed to be making the same amount of money as men nowadays, they're supposed to be doing anything a man can do, I can do better nowadays, but yet and still they still want to live by the Old Testament. And it's like, okay, now we're going to really have to come into a new Third Testament where women are really stepping up and realizing, okay, I can't depend on no man. But yet and still they want the man to be the head and depend on the man. It's like, okay, you really need to make up your mind. Are you going to be independent or am I going to be the head and not the tail? I don't understand that. It really mind boggles me, Miss Stacia.
Now, Mr. Michael King, we had this discussion last month.
I'm the relationship specialist.
Now, first of all, I'm going to need him to be responsible with his own money.
Okay.
So if
That's
he knows,
not what we're saying,
If
though.
he knows
We're saying
that
is
he's
when is
running
the-
out of cash,
when is the woman gonna
he
step
needs
up?
to be able to budget.
When is
And
the
so-
woman going to step up?
Well,
Well, hold on. I'm gonna piggyback on what you're saying, Miss Monica. You're right. It's necessary for the man to step up to say, you know, hey, this dinner this week I'm not gonna be able to do because I got this, that, and the third to do. You know, the issue comes, and I think here's where I believe Brother Jeremy and Mr. Michael King are coming from. The issue comes when from their perspective, what does the woman do when the man makes that statement?
Thank you.
Okay.
Suck her teeth, roll her eyes, twitch that neck,
oh my
and
God.
say, oh no he didn't.
Oh my God.
Oh no he didn't.
So
Tell me I need to pay.
So you mean you
Well,
can't go to
that's
Chili's?
the
You can't go to
thing.
Chili's
That's
4
why-
times 1 week?
Go-
What you doing?
And that's how it goes.
What
I
you
don't
doing?
understand. Again,
Communicating.
407-894-1680.
that's why we have to have the talk about money at an early point of the relationship.
It's nothing to talk
about. Well, a lot of people, it's all about expectations. You're
is.
talking about expectations. So if she's walking around thinking everything I do, everything I buy is on his tab, and you keep going along with it, she's going to roll the eyes, crack the neck, and everything else when you say that you don't have the money to take care of those things. Well, when you develop a understanding that, okay, we're going to share in these responsibilities. I would like to do everything, but I am not Superman. So in the event that I can't take care of that,
Another
would you be
man
so
will.
kind?
That's how America works in 2012. Where you slip up, another man will be like, "Girl, you
every
shouldn't be
woman
paying for that."
Is not like that, and she's not going to go search
I
for
would
some other
agree.
man.
I don't believe every woman's like that.
Just
But it's a lot of
just
them.
92%.
Oh my God.
Just 92%.
Let's just be real here. Like you say, okay, well, you know, it's dude over here, he tried to holler at me, and he got a brand new Benz with 20s. I bet you he could take me.
That's on credit.
I'm just
So then
asking to
when
go
you-
to Chili's. I ain't even asking to go to Kobe Steakhouse or something, or Season 52.
I ain't trying to go to Ruth
I
Chris.
just want to go to Chili's. You can't take me to Chili's?
He's trying to take me to Ruth Chris.
No, ma'am, I
Then
can't.
it seems more like men are more afraid to show their frailty and their inability to do something, so they'd rather put themselves in bad debt
Because
put
we're used to
themselves
being the
in-
Hold on.
head.
I think we have another caller here. We have another caller there, Brandon. Hello, caller. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I'm listening to y'all. I'm just enjoying the views and everybody's saying. But you know,
Oh, we appreciate
I got a
it.
comment.
Go ahead. What's your name first now? Your name is?
Now, why are you gonna ask my name when I asked you? I wanted to be anonymous.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead, Anonymous.
All right. Now, I just feel like if a man asking me to go out on a date and he know my lifestyle and he know how I roll, then he should have money in his wallet or credit card.
Speak a word.
So-
He should have cash in his wallet or credit card.
Miss Anonymous.
Don't need nothing at home either.
Miss
Don't be trying to
Anonymous.
play it off like you forgot.
This is what we're talking about.
This is what we're talking
This
about
is
right
what
here,
we're
Miss
talking about right here.
Miss Anonymous, when
made it clear,
are
y'all.
women going to
If
step
you know
up
her
and say,
lifestyle,
if
her
I know my
expectation has been
lifestyle,
set.
but if you know your lifestyle, Miss Anonymous, why won't you step up and be the sexy woman that say, you know what, I'll pay today?
I have paid in the past, but I made it up front. You know, I'm like, okay, we're going to go out because I understand you didn't get paid this week. You get paid every 2 weeks, so this ain't the week that you got paid, and you're trying to budget and everything, and I can understand that.
Right.
Okay.
However, I will
big
take
however.
care of the tab, since, I do have a little money. Okay, I'll take care of the tab this week. But
Okay.
don't try it next week, because next week you get paid. So
All right.
So you finding out when the brother get paid.
My rent due next week.
Thank you very much.
You gotta know when you get paid, because that's like all budgeting. You know what I mean? You gotta keep everything in perspective. Put your money on the table. Put the truth on the table. But be honest about it. Don't act like you expect me to just roll out my money.
Wow.
Because
All
I
right.
got a little money.
All right. Well, we appreciate
Thank
your
you for the
comment.
call,
Thank you
Mr.
for your
Anonymous.
comment on this.
But that's exactly what women are expecting men to do. Roll out their money.
I believe we have another
and pay.
caller. Caller, are you there? Oh, okay, maybe not. All right, go ahead. So I'm sorry, Mike King.
Yeah, like I was saying, that's what women are expecting to do. Roll out your money and pay. Because you are the man. You just supposed to and just supposed to
Well,
because you supposed to.
Well, Anonymous said, here's what Anonymous
And when are women going to start back cooking?
Hold
Because
on.
I don't
I
understand
don't
this.
think you are
Hold on,
being
hold
like
on.
Oh,
the
okay.
right
Hold on
women
a
at
second.
all.
We got a call? Oh, okay. All right. So going back to Anonymous's point, her point was she said that if you're going to date her,
You know
then,
her lifestyle.
then you're going to have to understand her lifestyle. And essentially what she's saying is, this is what I took from it. I'll say this.
What'd you take?
This is what I take from it.
Uh-huh.
So what she's saying is, if you know you can't keep up with her lifestyle, well, then you need not come
need to
to
back
her
on up.
because
All right.
because she will help you, or as she said, she'll take care of that dinner on the off week of your paycheck. That's fine for her.
Okay.
Okay, but but you also need to understand though who you dealing with is what she's saying.
Okay, well-
and if you're gonna deal with me, then there are certain expectations, and if you can't deal with those expectations, well, then I need to move on. Now here's one thing I say about that. Going back to this conversation about communication, she's already communicated to you what her expectations are. So either now one or two things needs to happen. You're either going to meet her expectations, or you're going to move on to the next one that maybe has lowered expectations.
Now I would say this. She says, "Oh, okay, you see my lifestyle," but is she genuinely first date communicating? Hey, I want to do this, that, and the third. Oh, we got another caller.
Caller? Oh, yeah, how you doing there, caller?
What's your name?
I'm doing good. How are you, family?
I'm doing
We're
pretty
good.
good.
We're good.
What's your name?
My name is Tarsha.
Oh, okay. How you doing, Tarsha?
Good. I need to back a little bit. And the comment that Mr. King keeps making about wanting the woman to be so independent and how he's confused.
No, women make that comment. That's what women say, that there's an independent woman. I think it was Destiny's Child that came out with that song.
But there's nothing wrong
Right
with
after
being
Bills.
independent and then also wanting that strong man. I just want to know, are you married, Mr. King?
Engaged in the future.
I like that answer, dog.
Seem to be.
I like
I don't know
that
if he's gonna make it, Tarsha. I
I'm
don't know.
foreshadowing the engagement. But I am not single.
But there is nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being independent and then wanting your man to still be strong. There's nothing wrong with that. We're
Well,
not confused.
Thank you for the call, Miss Tarsha. But I understand what she's trying to say, because I'm just going off of what women say. Women say, I'm independent. I don't need no man. I can do this. I can do that. And that's all that I'm going off of. But when it comes down to it, I don't see that. I see the woman saying, well, you supposed to, and you supposed to, and you supposed to, yet I'm independent. That's what's confusing, because, I really, like they say, the communication is what I'm trying to go off of. So if you're telling me, hey, I'm dating the wrong women, I'm bumping into the wrong women, Miss Monica, but majority, I can't say all women because women get mad at you when you say that. Majority of the women expect this and expect that no matter what, because you just the man. Unless I'm by myself, then I can do everything I need to do. But if I'm with you, you need to do it for me. That makes no sense to me.
I think a lot of the whole independent woman movement was to encourage women to be independent when there is no man. And so when there is a man and you have the opportunity, even if you have a man, you don't have to be like, oh, well, I'm just defenseless and I'm helpless and I need a man to help me. But the whole independent woman song and all that stuff was to encourage women to stand on their own 2 feet and not to feel like you have to have a man. You can have your own career. You can take care of yourself. You can pay your own bills. Now, granted, Destiny's Child song was a little contradictory. However, in general, the idea of being independent is taking care of yourself and being proud of who you are and not necessarily being dependent on somebody else.
When was that an issue with women? Women never had that issue that I noticed.
Women in history have been known of, the whole idea of being barefoot and pregnant, that they are second-class citizens, that they are not necessarily important, that what they say is not valued. And so the independent movement was to put them in a position to feel like they do have value, that they can be more than just what people idealize what their purpose is.
I have a question for you. Is that sounds to me more like the independent movement of the 1950s, the 1960s, the 1970s.
Yeah.
To me, the independent movement of 2000 is, or at least the way it's portrayed, we'll say, is more to say, I can do this by myself, and then I want the companionship, but I can do this by myself.
Right.
And so it's like you need to, kind of come with more. You need to be more, because at the end of the day, I can do this by myself. That's what the independent movement of today sounds more so like than it was, kind of the empowerment issues that you're referring to. I think, in the 1950s, 60s, 70s, that was an empowerment issue. But today, I think women do feel as empowered as men,
right.
Because just from a job perspective, from an economic perspective, I bet you if you did the statistics, I bet you more women are doing financially better on average than men. And so even when and I think that even reflected in colleges and universities across this country, where you see more women, especially if you look at the minority community, more women are definitely doing better than the average man. And so, going back to kind of one of Anonymous's point, piggybacking on that, it's almost the expectation that as a young professional woman, you're more than likely going to come in contact, especially if you're looking for that other minority brother.
Yes.
It's more likely that minority brother is going to be more so on the come up than already be where you are. So there does have to be some kind of, I don't want to call it change in your expectation, but there does have to be, sort of like Steve Harvey says in his book.
Yeah, I mean,
let's just call it a change.
You got to be willing to work with a brother that has potential, because that's the brother that more than likely you're going to meet when you are that independent woman, because there's fewer brothers at the top than there probably are minority women.
But right now, I think that women have the more opportunities to actually excel than most men do, because even in music, you see more people looking for all female bands. You see on TV, on the news, you see more women than men on the news. I mean, really, right now in 2012, women have more of an opportunity to do anything than men do.
Well, are you telling me then that men are looking for women to take the leader role? Because that's what it sounds like. If I'm an independent woman and you want me to celebrate,
I want you to have my back.
Then,
that's what I want. I need a woman that's going to have my back, not telling me what to do, not telling me she don't need me. I need her to say, you know what, if you can't, don't worry about it, because I got you. I don't need the woman saying, okay, well, oh my gosh, you can't pay for that this week. Like, that's not what we want. We really want a woman to say, hey, don't worry. If you got 200, here go another 100. We'll put that together and we will make it happen.
Then how does she make you feel valued if she is doing better
we
than
in love.
You are?
I'm not worried about that. We are in love.
Well, and let's do this. Like you said, especially in the minority community, women obviously are doing better. So most men you come across, you're going to be doing better. You're going to be making more money, But the problem is a lot of women don't still know how to let a man be a man. Like, you can still be making, you can still be making more money. That's fine. Who cares? I don't. It's not even about that. It's about, like Brother King was saying, telling me you don't need me, telling me, well, I can do it if you can't do it, or well, if you can, I find somebody who can. That type of thing. Where's the support? Where's the support? Like, oh, I know you not doing this. I mean, but if you got a brother, who, I mean, he may not have the most extravagant job, but if he has a good job, he get up, he goes to work every day, he pays all his bills, he doesn't ask you for any money. He just doesn't make as much as you do. You know, what's wrong with that guy? What's wrong with him? You know, because he doesn't have this particular level of income that you're at. You know, it's like, what are you looking for exactly? Are you just looking for money, or are we looking for love?
Oh, definitely. No, I agree with that. And when I ask the question is because oftentimes, at least I've come across where men, if they're not able to produce something to feel like they are valued, and they have the situation where, well, my wife or my girlfriend makes more money, she takes care of most things because she makes more money than I do, or we have that shared agreement. What else would you need to feel valued? Because a lot of men feel like their money and their ability to take care of whoever that person is where their lead is. Well, and if they don't do that,
here's my opinion on that. You know, that goes back to that's not an individual or generalized man problem. That's an insecure man problem.
Right, exactly.
Because who makes the most money? Again, if we're in love, which is what we're talking about, love and money. If we're in love, it really shouldn't matter who makes the most money, because we're in love and everything that we have is supposed to be shared anyway. And so when you have a man who can't properly love you because his paycheck is, you know, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 less than yours, then that has to do with the man that you chose and the insecurities that he has about himself. Because a real man, as long as you're allowing him to be a man, is going to be fine with that, because again, it's shared money. Right. You know. Now here's where the real man has an issue. The real man has an issue when, because you make more, now you want to not let him be the man.
Right.
You know, now you want to dictate to him, you know, oh no, we're not going to do this because of this. And then when he has an issue, oh well, you know, I make the most money.
There
anyway.
You go.
You know, so that's
trying
why
to throw your cards on the table.
That's why I can
put
make
that
this
big
decision.
joker, take it out the deck.
So
that's the problem.
So that's the issue.
Right, and that's what you're gonna get sometimes.
That's what you're gonna get majority of the time.
Is that independent?
But that's on the woman though.
And that goes back to, and again, I won't call her insecure, but I'll say that she has her own issues.
Right.
When she's playing that card over him, you know,
I would
because
say
it doesn't matter who has that money. In my opinion, that's not the issue. Love is love and money is money, and if you're in love, money should not be your issue.
Unless you don't have no money.
Oh, you know what? It's the relationships with no money, the ones that last. Go ahead. I hear we have a caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. How you doing tonight, caller? And your name?
My name is Nikki.
All right, Nikki. And your comment tonight?
Well, I'm just calling or just listening to your conversations. I don't know all of what's happening. But it does seem to me, because I am 36 going on 37, single, got my own place, work hard, can't find a man nowhere. And I say that because men will give me the statement, oh, well, you're unapproachable, or I can't come and talk to you because, look, you got all your stuff together. And you talk about these men who want a woman who have their back. That would be me. But when you meet these type of men, oh no, I can't offer you anything because you got it all together. And it's just amazing to me to hear your conversations, because you must be a rarity.
Oh, I am.
Very, very rare.
I'm rare. That's why I'm off the market.
Very rare.
Micah's number will be available right after this.
But see, a lot of men are intimidated by a woman of your stature. But you have to find the right man that's not intimidating. I work at a restaurant, and I meet a lot of women that come in like that also. And, you know, you would think that they would have a man. And that's what intimidates, because it's like, you know, she got all her stuff together. I guarantee you she has a man also. But if they don't ask you, are you single, then that's what they're thinking. But majority of men going to think you got a man already, and that's probably what it is going through their mind.
But go ahead.
Ask you this. And how come it is that the man won't take the initiative to even find that out? Are you someone to go ahead and assume that you have someone, and the way that I was brought up is that he who findeth a wife obtaineth favor, not that he who findeth a husband.
Do you have any kids?
No.
As we said before. No, and that was exactly my point. That and like Jay Real was saying, it's about the insecurity. Thank you so much. The insecurity of, oh, I can't approach her because she probably has, I can't be able to sustain what she has. Like Anonymous mentioned, I can't provide what she's looking for, so I'm just gonna back off. And so how do we allow you to do that? By letting you pay for those things, by letting you do those things, so you feel valued. Now, is it necessarily right for all men? Probably not. Like we do a lot of things that are not right for all, all the same gender. But that's what historically we've done. So if we want to make a change, we need to make a change.
Michael Jackson
and
said
communicate it ahead of time.
All right. And we're going to leave it right there. I thank you guys for joining me tonight on the panel. We certainly had some lively discussions this week.
Yes. Indeed.
This is what we do for those that are just tuning in, hearing us for the first time on Real Family Talk every Tuesday at 9 p.m. You can check us out on Facebook. The fan page is Real Family Talk. We're also on Twitter at Real Family Talk, and you can check out the website realfamilytalk.weebly.com. That's realfamilytalk.weebly. That's WEEBLY.com, and we'll be here next week. Next week we got another we're going to go back to a theme next week. Next week we're going to be talking about the plight of black males in the country, so that's going to be a good one. You don't want to miss that, so please tune in next week at 9 p.m. We're going to talk about the plight of black males. We're also going to have a guest as well. So look forward to next week having that conversation. I guess we have about 30 seconds here, maybe about a minute. Anybody want to throw in a final comment before we go?
If I wasn't taking, shout out to Nikki.
Shout out to Stacia also.
Nikki will call again so that she
vote Obama.
Vote Obama. Communicate about expectations, and if you're uncomfortable, find a way to communicate it so that it's not so uncomfortable. Find a financial advisor, go to a financial workshop with each other or something, so that you all know where you stand when your expectations are clear.
All right, and we'll see you next week, folks. This has been your host, Jay Real.
WOKB, Winter Garden, Orlando.